Hello. I decided to go live today, Monday the 7th, the 6th, Monday the 6th, for my podcast next Monday. So this will be coming out in a week from today. So if you're listening to it on the podcast, it's a week later. And I wanted to share a little bit about the blog post that I published this week, and also to announce that I am a top 10 finalist for the World Domination Summit's Scholarship for Real Life, which is really awesome. Basically, what that means that it would enable me to cover production and everything for the podcast for the next year and help build the Embracing Intensity community. So it would give me additional funds to help spread the word and grow our community. So as whether I get the scholarship or not, there's, I think, 4 out of 10 that they will be selecting. So there's a really good chance, which is kind of exciting. I'd actually totally given up the possibility because I found out 2 days after the deadline that I made it through the first round. So we shall see. Theoretically, we're supposed to find out on the 15th, and so I will keep you guys posted. And in the meantime, whether or not I make the scholarship, the whole point of the scholarship is to build the Embracing Intensity podcast and community to make it sustainable. So you can actually help with that right now by joining us in the Embracing Intensity community or supporting us a little bit on Patreon if you'd rather do it that way. And you can help support the production of the podcast and help us grow. The fact that it made it through to the top 10 in the World Domination Summit really shows what a powerful thing they saw behind this community and how much we can help so many more people if we can just reach more people and grow. Hello, hi Julie. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about the blog post that I wrote, and it was inspired by a post from Intergifted on levels of giftedness. The post itself, I think, is something about high, exceptional, profound giftedness, and they talk about different levels of giftedness. So the first thing they talk about is what they call linear thinking. So it would be kind of A to B, B to C, C to D, and so on. Whereas someone who's moderately gifted would have what they call skip thinking. So skip thinking goes from A to D or D to G and so on. So these are the people who process things a lot faster, but they're still kind of in that linear line. So when they're looking at their level, what they talk about is either called meta thinking or matrix thinking. And the image of matrix thinking just really connected with me. And as I was working with someone a couple of weeks ago, it really came up, and I jotted down a whole bunch of little doodles on a Post-it. And I showed it to this person to help them explain how their brain might work. And they pointed to one of them and said, well, it's kind of like this, only it's three-dimensional here, and this might sound kind of weird, but it didn't sound weird at all. Actually, it helped this person to verbalize how they envision their own brain. Now there are infinite possibilities of what it might look like, and I actually identify with multiple different matrix analogies, but I shared a few on my blog, and I'm going to just briefly overview a couple of them right here. So one that I really relate to is kind of a mind map. So more of a three-dimensional mind map. So you have just everything is connecting with everything else. And that's something that I definitely can relate to. And another one I relate to is sort of a Venn diagram, because I also see how not only is everything connected, but I also see the overlap and how categories overlap in a connected way. Now, a Venn diagram is hard to go three-dimensional on, so it's hard for me to visualize really complicated as it might be in my brain. And one thing that's funny when I talk about the visualization, as I say visualize, but I actually don't see these things in my head. It's something that's an interesting thing about my own brain, is that I don't visualize things at all. Almost, I think in words. And so when I'm talking about visualizing something, I think of the word of what I'm visualizing. I don't actually see it in my head. I only picture things in my head when I'm either in a near dream state or possibly a really, really calm meditative state. Um, another one that I love is the image of the spiral. So I used to work with someone who everybody kept thinking just talked all over the place and was never on track. And I started to notice that actually they kind of talked in a spiral. And so while it seemed like they were going all over the place, they actually kept coming back around to the point. So there was some linear thinking to it. It was just kind of going in a spiral. Another one that somebody shared was looking at puzzle pieces, and a couple friends who've explained different aspects of their brains. One talked about someone who had a ton of puzzle pieces, but they had a really hard time figuring out how to put them all together. And then another friend described how in her job, it was like every year she'd put this big puzzle together, and then at the end of the year all the pieces would just be taken apart and thrown back on the table, and she'd have to do it all over again. And so different people have different speeds of connecting the puzzle pieces. Another image that I like to think of when I look at my multi-potentiality is looking at a tree, and with the roots as the foundation and the branches as my different interests that help to enrich my life. And when I was working full-time in my day job, I felt like it was kind of a badly pruned tree. So I wasn't really exploring the different facets of enrichment in my life at that time. But then when I went to work, when I cut down my hours to work on my own, I felt like I just was this completely unpruned tree. So I was just all over the place, just trying to figure out what would stick and trying to pursue every single interest that I had all at once. And so now I've been focusing on pruning that tree and really narrowing my focus on educational assessment and building my community, and eventually expanding that into more coaching retreats, group retreats, facilitating groups and that sort of thing. But for right now, I'm really trying to narrow my focus. Another one that I like is the spider web, which I kind of see similar to a combination of the mind map and the spiral. And then my friend, Jen, hi Jen, you might be on here, brought this one up actually. And that is a 3D chessboard. So the image that I have isn't 3D because it's kind of hard to find that, but that it's not just a chessboard where you're interacting and you're strategizing on one plane. You're actually strategizing on multiple planes at once. And I really liked that imagery. And finally, a maze where you might go follow down one path and then get to a dead end and then have to backtrack to follow down another. So those are just a few types of matrices that that someone might have. I would love to hear from you guys if you have your own kind of visual matrix. I found all the pictures here. You can see if you're on the video, and I found them all on the Noun project, and they have all kinds of awesome little icons and symbols that are great for visualizing stuff if you want to put something down in a way that is tangible to others, because I am not an artist and I don't see those things in my head. So it's been really a handy tool. So have a great week. Check out the Embracing Intensity community. Come join us and send lots and lots of positive thoughts towards getting that scholarship, because it would be a full game changer if I won. So have a great day. Bye-bye.